What if the biggest royal controversy of the last 5 years was never really about interviews, family tension, or stepping back from royal life at all?
The real story, according to sources and newly surfaced documents, isn't in the headlines, it's in the bank records, encrypted messages, and financial trails that someone didn't want anyone to see. And according to what's been reported, these revelations may explain why King Charles and Prince William have finally made a decision many believed they would never take.
According to multiple online reports and insider narratives, King Charles III and Prince William have allegedly reached a breaking point over concerns that go far beyond media criticism or personal conflict. This is not about clashing personalities. It is not about strained family relationships. The story being whispered is about money, secrecy, and a level of alleged deception that some claim the monarchy can no longer ignore without risking its credibility. What makes this narrative explosive is not just the allegation itself, but the scale of what is being suggested. According to unverified reports circulating online, senior palace officials quietly initiated a review of financial matters linked to Meghan Markle during her time as a working royal. There were no headlines, no public acknowledgements, and no leaks at the time. The process, according to these accounts, involved forensic accountants, legal advisors, and internal compliance teams examining financial trails that were never intended to attract public attention. The narrative further suggests that this review did not begin after the Sussexes left royal life, but months earlier. It allegedly started before their decision to step away was ever made public. That timing has become one of the most discussed aspects of the story. If the departure was solely about mental health, privacy, and media pressure, critics ask why internal financial reviews were reportedly underway at the same time. The overlap has led to speculation that the public explanation may not tell the full story.
Naturally, King Charles and Prince William demanded answers. Where did the money come from? And the answers they received, according to palace sources, were contradictory, vague, and in some cases demonstrably false.
At the center of the claims is the allegation of undisclosed financial structures. Online discussions frequently reference offshore jurisdictions, including the Cayman Islands, often described as highly secretive financial environments. It is important to clarify that offshore accounts are not illegal by default. Corporations, investors, and high net worth individuals use them worldwide. The controversy, according to critics, is not about legality but transparency. Working royals are expected to operate under strict financial oversight to prevent conflicts of interest, hidden influence, or reputational harm to the crown. According to these reports, the concern was not that money existed, but that it may have been structured in ways that bypassed traditional royal oversight mechanisms. If true, that would represent a fundamental breach of protocol. The monarchy relies heavily on public trust, and financial transparency is one of the pillars that supports that trust. That is why these claims, even without confirmation, have generated intense scrutiny and sustained attention. Another factor fueling speculation is the alleged volume of funds involved. Online narratives repeatedly reference sums in the millions, allegedly moving through accounts over a relatively short period. If accurate, critics argue that such activity would inevitably raise red flags within any institution, let alone one as risk-averse as the royal household. While no public documents confirm these figures, their repeated appearance across multiple independent narratives has kept the conversation alive. When palace officials were allegedly alerted to irregularities, the story claims that explanations provided were vague, inconsistent, or incomplete. Whether that perception is fair or not, it matters. In institutions built on tradition, hierarchy, and protocol, even the appearance of evasiveness can carry serious consequences. Silence, in this context, becomes part of the story rather than a tool to contain it. The controversy deepens with claims that some funds were allegedly linked to corporate entities rather than personal or family sources. Critics argue that this raises unavoidable questions. What services were provided? What agreements existed? Why would corporate money flow toward a working royal through channels not visible to palace oversight? According to sources, these questions were discussed internally, and the absence of clear answers is said to have heightened concern. There is also a media dimension to this narrative that has drawn public attention. Online reports suggest that some outgoing payments were linked to public relations consultants, reputation management firms, and digital strategy operations. Many public figures employ such services, and that alone is not unusual. The controversy arises from the perceived contradiction between publicly portraying oneself as a victim of media intrusion while allegedly funding sophisticated narrative-shaping efforts behind the scenes. For critics, this contradiction undermines credibility. Another frequently cited element involves alleged encrypted communications. According to reports, messages recovered from devices used during Meghan's time in royal residences allegedly referenced long-term financial planning and post-royal independence well before any public announcement. If accurate, this would suggest the decision to step back was not spontaneous but carefully planned. Although unverified, these claims contribute to the perception that public narratives may not fully reflect private realities. Travel has also become part of the discussion. Some online sources claim that undisclosed trips occurred during Meghan's time as a working royal, funded privately and not reflected in official court circulars. These alleged trips, reportedly to destinations such as Los Angeles, New York, and parts of Europe, are cited as evidence of a parallel lifestyle operating alongside official royal duties. Critics argue that if true, this would raise serious transparency concerns, especially given the use of taxpayer-funded security during the same period. Prince Harry's role in all of this remains one of the most debated aspects. According to some versions of the narrative, he was unaware of certain financial arrangements. According to others, he was fully informed. Both scenarios carry serious implications. If he was unaware, it suggests a profound breakdown of trust within the marriage. If he was aware, it complicates the public image of openness and shared decision-making emphasized in interviews and documentaries. What reportedly pushed the situation toward a breaking point was not a single issue, but the accumulation of concerns. Financial opacity, alleged inconsistencies, media strategy contradictions, and the appearance of premeditated planning are said to have created an untenable situation. According to insiders, Prince William is believed to have taken a particularly firm stance, viewing the alleged conduct as incompatible with the responsibilities attached to a royal title. Royal titles are not merely honors. They represent institutional trust. Any move to remove or alter a title would require formal constitutional processes involving advisory bodies such as the Privy Council. To date, no such process has been publicly confirmed. However, the fact that widespread speculation exists reflects a shift in public expectations. Many now believe that royal privilege must have clear limits. Supporters of Meghan and Harry argue that this entire narrative is driven by bias, hostility, and a media environment eager for scandal. They emphasize that no official evidence has been released and that silence should not be equated with guilt. Critics counter that silence from powerful institutions often protects the institution rather than clarifying the truth. This tension between interpretation and evidence is exactly why the story refuses to disappear. It is crucial to separate allegations from facts. There is no confirmed finding of financial misconduct. There is no public court ruling. There are no verified documents available to the public. What happens next will determine more than a single title. It will shape how the monarchy is viewed in a world that no longer accepts tradition as a substitute for transparency. This is not about drama. It is about whether accountability applies equally, even at the highest levels of power. And that is why this story matters.